an honest and a hard-working taxi driver named Mike. Those who found himself in his cab often felt an instant sense of comfort, knowing they were in capable hands. Whether it was a late-night ride home after a long shift, a hurried trip to the airport, once he helped a mother that changes his life forever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales with Cekos. Today I am going to share an exceptional story of kindness. There lived a remarkably honest and hard-working taxi driver named Mike. For over 15 years, Mike had devoted his days and nights to driving a yellow cab through the intricate web of streets that formed the concrete jungle. The honking horns, the distant sirens, and the bustling crowds were the soundtrack of his life, but amidst the cacophony, he navigated with a heart brimming with hope and a spirit that remained unbroken by the relentless grind of the city that never sleeps. Mike was not the type to engage in idle chatter. He was a man of few words, yet his reputation among passengers and peers spoke volumes. He was known for his unwavering kindness and remarkable reliability. Those who found themselves in his cab often felt an instant sense of comfort, knowing they were in capable hands. Whether it was a late-night ride home after a long shift, a hurried trip to the airport, or a quiet drive through the scenic avenues of Manhattan, Mike treated everyone with the same level of respect and attention, making him a beloved figure in his small circle. On a particularly rainy evening, when the city was cloaked in a veil of mist and the streetlights cast a warm glow on the shimmering wet asphalt, Mike's taxi rolled to a gentle halt in front of an elegant hotel that stood tall and proud amidst the chaos of the streets. The rhythmic patter of raindrops on the cab's roof created a soothing melody, but for one young lady who emerged from the hotel doors, the situation was anything but serene. Soaking wet and clutching a small bundle in her arms, she frantically waved for Mike's cab, her distress palpable in the air. Mike's keen eyes quickly caught the desperation in her gaze, a silent plea that compelled him to act without hesitation. He pulled over, his heart empathetic to the urgency of her situation, and opened the door with a reassuring smile. The lady, whose name was Emily, was visibly shaking as she climbed into the back seat, the tiny baby swaddled gently in her arms. The baby, a little girl with delicate features and tiny fingers, was fast asleep, blissfully oblivious to the chaos and worry that enveloped her mother. As Mike watched Emily settle into the cab, he couldn't help but notice the worry etched on her face. It was a look he had seen many times before, a mixture of fear and determination that came with being a parent. He turned the rearview mirror slightly to catch her eye, offering a nod of understanding, silently assuring her that she was safe now. The sound of the rain drumming against the cab's roof seemed to fade as he engaged the meter and merged into the flow of traffic, the city lights streaking by like shooting stars. With every turn of the wheel, he felt a sense of responsibility for the two lives he was now protecting, and the journey ahead became more than just another fare. It was a chance to offer support in a moment of need. "Please, take me to the nearest hospital," Emily pleaded, her voice trembling with fear. Panic gripped her heart as she clutched her baby, who lay limply in her arms. "My baby isn't well. I think she has a fever." The urgency in her tone echoed the dread she felt, a mother's instinct screaming that time was of the essence. Without a moment's hesitation, Mike, the taxi driver, switched off the meter, an act of kindness that spoke volumes. He pressed down on the gas pedal, the engine roaring to life as he navigated through the bustling city streets, weaving through traffic as skillfully as he could manage. His mind raced alongside the car, aware that every second counted in emergencies like this one. The thought of a mother's distress being prolonged by something as trivial as a taxi fare weighed heavily on him. He couldn't let that happen. Upon arriving at the emergency room, a place that always buzzed with an undercurrent of anxiety, Mike quickly hopped out of the car. He moved to help Emily, who was struggling to keep her composure amidst the chaos. "Let me carry the baby for you," he offered, his voice steady and reassuring. Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and anxiety. In that fleeting moment, she seemed to search his face for reassurance before nodding, her resolve softening as she placed her precious cargo into his strong, capable arms. As they rushed into the hospital, the fluorescent lights casting a harsh glow around them, Mike felt an inexplicable connection to this mother and child that he couldn't quite articulate. It was as if their fates were intertwined in some profound way, bound together by the raindrops that had mercilessly poured down that night, forcing them into this urgent situation. Each raindrop felt like a shared moment, a thread connecting their lives, if only for a brief time. In the sterile environment of the emergency room, with medical staff swiftly moving about, Mike remained by Emily's side, offering silent support as she whispered words of comfort to her baby. His heart ached at the sight of her worry, each passing moment heightening the tension. It was a whirlwind of emotions for both of them, yet in that chaos, a quiet understanding blossomed, a shared hope that everything would turn out okay. The doctors and nurses quickly took the tiny, fragile baby into their expert care, their movements fluid and precise as they worked to stabilize her condition. Emily watched from the doorway, her heart racing with fear and worry, but she felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over her as she saw her daughter being attended to by skilled medical professionals. They had the knowledge and resources to provide the help her baby desperately needed, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Emily allowed herself to hope. Meanwhile, Mike sat quietly in the hospital lobby, his heart heavy with concern for the little girl he had only just met, but whose plight had tugged at his heartstrings. He had felt an immediate connection to Emily and her daughter, and the gravity of their situation weighed on him as he contemplated the chaos that had unfolded in such a short time. He could only imagine the depths of Emily's fear and anguish, and he found himself wishing he could do more to ease her burden. As the hours dragged on, Emily found herself pacing the sterile, cold corridor of the hospital, her thoughts racing as she prayed for her daughter's recovery. She was exhausted from the emotional toll the day had taken on her, but she was determined to stay strong for her baby. Finally, the door to the hospital room swung open, and Emily stepped out, her face a portrait of exhaustion, yet her eyes sparkled with a glimmer of hope. The doctors had informed her that the baby had a severe infection, but with the right treatment and care, she would recover. Feeling a wave of gratitude, she knew she needed to get back to some semblance of normalcy, and that's when Mike stepped in. He offered to drive her back to the hotel, insisting gently that she shouldn't have to face the brewing storm outside alone. His kindness touched her heart, and she accepted his offer with a weary but grateful smile. As they drove through the rain-slicked streets, the world outside seemed a blur, and Emily found herself opening up to Mike about her life. She spoke of the unbearable pain she felt after her husband had abandoned her shortly after their daughter was born. With tears in her eyes, she recounted how he had walked out the door, leaving her not only heartbroken, but also penniless and struggling to navigate the complexities of single motherhood. She had no family or friends in the city to support her, and every day had become a battle to make ends meet while trying to keep her baby safe and healthy. Her story poured out of her, and with every word, the burden on her shoulders seemed to lift just a little, as if sharing her pain with Mike lightened her load. She explained the long nights spent awake, worrying about how she would provide for her daughter, and the fear that gripped her when she realized something was wrong with the baby. It was a nightmare she couldn't escape, yet in this moment, she found solace in the presence of a kind stranger who was willing to listen. Mike's compassionate demeanor offered her a glimmer of hope amidst her struggles, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a connection to someone who cared. Mike's heart went out to Emily, and he made a heartfelt promise to help her in any way he could during this challenging time. Over the course of the next few days, he took it upon himself to visit the hospital every evening after his shift had ended. Each visit was a labor of love. He brought Emily not only nourishing food and essential supplies, but also uplifting words of encouragement to help her through the tough moments. It was his way of showing her that she was not alone in her struggles and that someone cared deeply for her well-being. As the baby's condition began to show signs of improvement, a remarkable transformation occurred in the bond between Mike and Emily. Their friendship blossomed in the shared space of the hospital room. They spent hours talking, opening up about their lives, their hopes, and the fears that haunted them. Emily shared tales from her past, painting a vivid picture of her life as the daughter of a wealthy family. She spoke passionately about her whirlwind romance with a man who had captivated her heart and whisked her away into a world of love and excitement. However, as the story unfolded, a darker turn emerged, the bitter betrayal that shattered her dreams and led to her current situation. One day, as they sat together in the quiet of the hospital room, listening to the soothing rhythm of rain tapping against the window, Emily took a deep breath and decided it was time to unveil a secret she had kept buried for too long. Her voice trembled slightly as she revealed that her family had disowned her due to her choices, leaving her feeling isolated and abandoned. But amid the pain, a glimmer of hope emerged. She had recently learned that her grandmother, a woman known for her immense wealth and kind heart, had passed away. In her will, She had left Emily a sizable inheritance, a revelation that brought a mixture of emotions, relief, sadness, and a newfound sense of possibility. This unexpected turn of events opened up discussions of the future, and they both wondered what doors this inheritance might unlock for Emily and her baby, and how it might change the trajectory of her life. Emily had been on a relentless quest to secure her inheritance, a pursuit that had begun to weigh heavily on her. The legal process surrounding the claim was not just tedious, it was labyrinthine, fraught with complexities that left her feeling daunted and disheartened. The requirement to appear in person at the family law firm added to her stress, as she had little time to spare. With the health of her baby becoming increasingly precarious, Emily felt utterly overwhelmed, grappling with sleepless nights and endless worries about her child's future. The thought of navigating the legal intricacies seemed insurmountable amidst the chaos of motherhood. Fortunately, Mike, her steadfast friend, stepped in at just the right moment. With an encouraging smile, he offered to accompany her to the law firm, easing her burden just a little. As they entered the austere building, Emily felt her anxiety rise, only to be tempered by Mike's unwavering support. Together, they braced themselves against the cold, disapproving gazes of the lawyers who had been anxiously waiting for her arrival. These legal professionals, clad in their formal attire and exuding an air of authority, scrutinized her every move, reminding her of the stakes at hand. However, once her identity was verified, a glimmer of hope emerged. The lawyers, though stern, proceeded with the formalities, and after what felt like an eternity, they handed her a check, a life-changing sum that represented not just wealth, but the promise of a brighter future. In that moment, Emily became a millionaire. A rush of emotions flooded over her: excitement, relief, and an overwhelming gratitude toward Mike, who had been her rock throughout this tumultuous journey. She realized that no amount of money could ever truly repay him for his unwavering kindness and support, yet she was resolute in her desire to try. She envisioned creating a meaningful way to express her gratitude, one that could help others like her who had faced similar challenges. As weeks morphed into months, a transformation began to take shape in Emily's life. With her baby growing stronger each day, she decided to channel her newfound wealth into something profoundly impactful. She launched a charity dedicated to supporting single mothers, providing them with the essential resources and emotional support that she had once desperately needed. Her mission became not just about giving back, but also about creating a community where women could find solace and empowerment in shared experiences. Meanwhile, Mike took on the role of the charity's unofficial chauffeur, happily volunteering his time to drive Emily and her baby to various appointments and meetings. Whether it was navigating the bustling city streets to attend fundraising events or simply helping her run errands, he was always there, embodying the spirit of friendship and selflessness. Together, they forged a powerful partnership, one that was rooted in their shared determination to make a difference in the lives of others. Emily's journey from overwhelming uncertainty to a path of purpose had begun, and with Mike by her side, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the seasons changed and the bond between Emily and Mike deepened, it became evident that their friendship was something truly special. They had shared countless laughs and heartfelt conversations, creating a connection that transcended the typical relationship between a passenger and a taxi driver. Emily appreciated Mike's kindness and dedication, while he admired her intelligence and drive. One day, during one of their long chats, Emily realized just how worn down Mike's old taxi was. The paint was chipped, the engine coughed, and the seats were frayed from years of use. It struck her that this vehicle, which had seen countless streets and served as the backdrop for many of their conversations, was a symbol of Mike's hard work and perseverance. Determined to help him, she devised a plan to surprise him. Without revealing her intentions, Emily secretly purchased a brand new, state-of-the-art taxi, meticulously choosing the color blue, Mike's favorite hue. It gleamed under the sun, a perfect embodiment of the hope and potential she saw in him. She envisioned the joy on his face when he would finally see it, and her heart raced with excitement at the thought. But Emily's generosity didn't end with the taxi. She had often listened to Mike talk about his lifelong dream of opening his own garage, a dream that had been stifled by the weight of bills and the realities of life. Understanding how much this meant to him, she took it a step further. Utilizing her resources and connections, she arranged for a fully equipped garage to be set up just for him. It was a dream come true, featuring the latest tools, diagnostic machines, and even a cozy waiting area where customers could relax. When she finally unveiled both the taxi and the garage to Mike, his reaction was one of pure astonishment. Tears welled in his eyes as he processed the overwhelming gift of the new vehicle and the opportunities that lay ahead with the garage. He was filled with gratitude, feeling that someone believed in him enough to support his passion. The garage soon transformed into Mike's sanctuary. It was a space where he could express his love for automobiles freely, tinkering and working on cars that came through the door. The sound of tools clinking and engines revving became the backdrop to his new life, filled with creativity and excitement. Though he had retired from driving a taxi, he felt a renewed sense of purpose and joy as he embarked on this new chapter. Emily often visited, becoming not just a friend but a partner in Mike's journey. Together, they laughed and shared stories as he worked on various vehicles, and the bond between them flourished even more. In this garage, amidst the scent of oil and the warmth of friendship, they created a world where dreams could thrive, illustrating that true companionship can ignite hope and open doors to new beginnings. The garage grew into a successful business, and Mike's reputation as a master mechanic spread throughout the city. People would come from miles around to have their vehicles serviced by the kind-hearted man who had once driven a cab in the rain. Years later, when the blue taxi was but a fond memory, Mike looked back at that fateful night with a warm smile. He had not only found friendship and purpose, but had played a small part in the transformation of a desperate woman into a beacon of hope for so many. Their paths had crossed when she needed a ride, but in the end, it was she who had given him the journey of a lifetime. Through her, he had discovered that sometimes the most profound changes in our lives come from the most unexpected places, and for that, he would always be grateful.